Hi, Alan Stratton from As Wood Turns. As I've mentioned, I've recently moved to a new home in the Utah area, and I have a new shop. However, my shop is far from organized and far from an ideal layout yet. I've been working on it, slowly clearing things and getting things ready, but one of the main problems is that I need more space and I need to be able to put away stuff. So, can I grow this thing? No. I think I have the same problem most woodworkers have and most wood turners have, and that is my shop is not big enough. No matter how big it is not big enough. But that is a constraint I have to work with, and I need to optimize what I have. So one of the things that I need to do is to put away stuff. Some of the stuff in the area of my shop doesn't belong. It's part of the household goods. So I've been studying how can I have storage space and not sacrifice floor space. Floor space is the biggest premium that I have, because I have big tools that I need to be able to put somewhere on the floor. So one of the ideas was to consider over garage door storage, and there are commercial units that I looked at that or sections, but they were moderately expensive, and I have a long span to do across the entire garage. Wanted to optimize both of it. The advantage is that it is free space. It is otherwise wasted space that you cannot do anything with. The downside is that things have to be light enough that you can lift them up there, and you cannot access it when the garage doors are open. You have to close them first and then put it up there. So I studied that and said, okay, well, I'll do it myself, build it myself with wood, and make it as strong as I can. Now, in looking for strength, I'm looking for strength to come from it being mounted to the back, to the wall and to the beam of the garage doors, and anchored to the side wall for support there, and then anchored to a post from the rafters of the attic, hanging down about every 9 feet on center. The additional strength that I'm counting on here is actually a torsion box effect. But essentially, if you have a space that is skinned on top and bottom, it does contribute to the space. So, yes, I am putting a sheath of OSB on both the top and bottom of the framing. So, let's just show a little bit here. In the corner, I've also added an electrical box that I'll be able to route power to add to a little bit more power access as I go, and then sheathe at top and bottom. I have a little bit more work to do. One of the things I had to watch out for was the garage door opener, to leave that access to that for the track and be able to surface it in the future. So I'm going to leave this bay void and not skinned on the bottom. It should be strong enough. I've reinforced the post here with a metal strip to make sure that the wood will stay put, and then on across the same way. So today's project is actually getting my shop in order so that I can actually be somewhat more efficient with my turning projects. So a little bit of a change, but let's make a garage door or a shelf to go over the garage door.
First off, I want to remove the drywall from where my shelf will be. Drywall can crush. I want the shelf to be as strong as possible with what materials I'm using. I hate to measure, so I'm using in effect a story stick to determine where the shelf will be. Then mark it and cut it out. A very messy task. Next, nail up the 2x4s along the walls. I'm butting them against the story stick, then power nailing the 2x4 to the wall. I could not do this job without a power nailer. This nailer is a Paslode 30 degree. It is powered by a battery and a fuel cell. Next step, I want to clean up from all the drywall and caulk the joint between the drywall and my 2x4. It's not necessary, but I want it to look decent, even if the surrounding drywall has issues. I'm using metal 2x4 hangers for the wall side of the 2x4 mini rafters. I need to measure and nail them up. Cutting the drywall was the nasty part. Hanging the 2x4 on the other side is the tough part. A few big clamps help to create platforms to hold the wood until I can nail it up. A center board with a couple of clamps also help to hold up the board in approximate positions. Then power nail the outer board to my short rafters. This is a lot of up and down the ladder. A helper on the ground helps a lot. At the joint of the 2x4s, I'm nailing another 2x4 inside the joint to bridge between the two but not show any bulk outside of the finished shelf. To suspend the shelf from the ceiling, I'm clamping a 2x4 to the shelf and checking it for being plumb. Then mark the ceiling to a minimal hole for the 2x4 into the attic.
I've puzzled over exactly how to hang the shelf from the rafters in the attic over quite some time. But I think I've come up with a fairly simple approach. It may be a little bit of waste of material, but it's one that will work for me. I don't want to spend a lot of time up in the attic. I don't enjoy being in hot attics. But I do know that the rafters up there are probably 2x4s, and they're about 24 inches on center, at least in the part of the house. The shelf will be coming up here, somewhere in the middle between those. I don't really want to spend a lot of time measuring exactly where it is. So what I've made is a couple of L brackets, one for each side of the post. I'll take these up there. They're pre-made so that now I can just nail it to the side of the board here, tack it out here on the rafters, and we've got our post to support the shelf. This thing ain't coming down.
To have some torsion box effect, I need to fasten OSB to the bottom of the framing. However, the door beam and the frame come into the garage at least 6 inches. With only 3 inches between the bottom of the shelf and the top of the garage door frame, I don't have enough space to nail the OSB to the wall-mounted 2x4. To counter this effect, I'm gluing and nailing a 2x2 to the inside of the bottom sheet of OSB. I have to do this on the ground. Then, after nailing up the bottom sheet, but before nailing the top sheet, I'll nail the 2x4s from the framing cavity to the wall 2x4. I hate to measure each board, so a 4-inch 2x4 marks the distance from the edge of the OSB. A piece of 3/4 inch scrap marks the distance from the long edge to the 2x2. Time to nail up the bottom sheet of OSB. First, I'm applying construction adhesive to the OSB, then lift it up and nail it to the framing. Unfortunately, I did not mark the 24-inch center line. The power nailer is essential here. I'd still be hammering if I had used only a standard hammer. With a couple of the bottom panels nailed up, I can get myself up on the shelf to nail the top sheath. Just don't let me forget to nail that 2x2 to the garage door wall 2x4. It's tight quarters to spread glue and nail down the wood. At least the shelf is high enough for me to crawl back and forth. I placed loose top OSB boards to support me. This is a good test of the shelf strength. If it holds me, it will hold anything I can lift up to it. But I don't plan on ever getting my whole body up here again. Now for what should be a simple task. Add a couple of short boards around the ceiling support and add a metal reinforcing strip. But the wood splits and I have to crawl up to remove the split wood. I'm trying again with a clamp to help absorb the nailing pressure. This is not a project if you have limited flexibility or any fear of heights. So there you have it, an above garage door shelf to store less frequently used items and give me back my floor space. I'll be back next week for another wood turning video. I hope this prompts some ideas to solve your storage issues, whether above door or elsewhere. When turning, always wear your full face shield. Goggles are not enough. Then keep on turning. Until next week, this is Alan Stratton from As Wood Turns.